Bag with the selfie stick walking around again. Here we are in Bloomingdale, I think is what it used to be called. Bloomingdale, uptown. The street that Obama lived on, and Dustin Hoffman, Robert Duvall. Today I had a special request. Somebody asked me to do an entire live stream about video games. So I'm going to talk mostly about video games, and then possibly, other things will tangentially kind of sprout off that. But I mean, that's what everybody likes anyway, right? I mean, maybe I'm not a video game streamer, but I'm a video game commentator streamer. So, yeah, I don't really actually know that much about goddamn... Well, I haven't played video games actively in like 20 fucking years, so, this is going to be largely hearsay, judgmental, very judgy. I mean, in a certain way, I have such disdain for goddamn video games because it does seem like they're kind of like the downfall of our fucking society and masculinity. And so that's why I talk shit about video games, but it's like they're, undeniable kind of cultural force whose time has arrived. I was just watching this Spalding Gray interview because I was just trying to, when I first moved to New York, 2010, I think I saw Swimming to Cambodia in 2010 when I had that apartment in Columbus. And I got really into Spalding Gray. Monster in a Box, Slippery Slope. That one where he's talking about how he bought the house upstate and all the kind of turmoil and travails of home ownership. I used to listen to that shit. I had downloaded it, like on torrents and shit. These Spalding Gray monologues are all about an hour and a half, hour 40, 45. And I would listen to it walking to the train, on the train. And I think, I was trying to figure out, because I think what Spalding Gray really did was like he was sort of like a novelist on stage. He would do these kind of memoir. It's like autofiction, really. I know this is not a video game. Was there a Spalding Gray video game? And if not, why not? We need a Swimming to Cambodia adaptation. So anyway, this was long before I'd ever heard of John Mulaney, mind you. But I'm kind of revisiting it because I'm trying, the thing with Mulaney kind of clicked, the way that he kind of is doing like a Spalding Gray thing. So I've been watching these Spalding Gray, and my problem, I guess, with Spalding Gray is like he could have done so much more. Like with streaming now, there's an opportunity to just kind of do that kind of storytelling in like a more of a long form way. And so I like those kind of artists, Mike Daisey, these kind of monologuists who basically kind of like write these long novels on stage. But Spalding Gray was sort of talking about why, because he's a hippie. A lot of Spalding Gray's material is sort of about like these new age quests that he's on, or he's at some fucking ashram, or he's going to India and he's doing acid and he's doing yoga and searching, he's got some kind of like existential crisis he's going through, and so he has these kind of episodic chapters in his life where he, there's a Grey's Anatomy, he's talking about he's got some problem in his eye or something, so the whole fucking monologue is about what he goes through seeing doctors and trying to get well. But he's talking about why he did monologues and why he did the work that he did the way that he did it. And he said something about how when he does these monologues and he speaks on stage, it's almost like he's creating it with the audience. He says it's like a dance with the audience. And, you know, he says it's their energy that carries him through the performance a lot of the time. It's not even him, you know, it's just like the fact that there's so many people there. And what he was saying is he wants it to be language because he wants the audience to create the images in their mind. You know, he's somebody of that kind of hippie generation. He's more aware of, like, the effects that things like movies, TV have on people with this kind of bombardment of real images. Whereas something like theater, poetry, right, something that's made of language, everybody has to kind of participate and create their own image in their mind rather than just like being fed images like fucking Stallone movie or something. And you know, that's a conscientious thing on a performer's part to sort of make that choice. Like, he's not going to write screenplays, he's not going to write novels. He said there was something about one of the reasons why he doesn't move on stage. He sits behind a desk, which is different than Milani. Milani's like pacing around on stage, much more like a stand-up comedian, like Chris Rock or something. Whereas Spalding Gray sits behind that fucking desk with his notes. He said there's something about the stillness of it that draws people in, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because, you know, he incubated this stuff and he figured out how to do this stuff in Soho in the fucking 70s at the goddamn Performing Garage as a member of, like, the Wooster Group and shit. And so, I mean, one thing about New York, particularly at that time, I think, is there's just a shitload of people here. And so getting audiences, getting people to come to something, you know, there are a lot of people here. So then the people here, they want to participate. They want to go to plays. They want to go to see art. They want to go to see music. You know, people who live in New York, probably one of the main reasons they live here is for the culture. And you know, it's not hard to imagine in the 70s, 80s, Spalding Gray could get rooms full of people in Soho to listen to his sort of like explorations of his own life, his mom's suicide or whatever it is, permanent vacation. Now it's kind of, you know, when I'm looking at Spalding Gray's work, I'm like, I don't really think this would work now, because it's like it's this white male, you know, he's basically straight. Although I think Spalding Gray, there was a little bit of queerness there, or maybe like repressed homosexuality. And, you know, he just talks about his own life. You know, his mom, his mommy issues, Renee, his neurotic, right? That's something he mentioned, was like, he looks like this kind of like wasp. You know, his name's Spud. He's from Rhode Island, where Berrigan's from. And, but he says, like, on the inside, he's like Woody Allen. He's this neurotic kind of New York Jewish personality, different than the way that he kind of appears as this sort of like country club, Brahmin, East Coast guy. And so, you know, it would be hard to imagine an audience indulging that now. Going and paying money to sit in a theater and watch a white guy tell stories from his life for an hour and a half and try to pass that off as like a theater. And I don't necessarily think what Spalding Gray was doing was anything new per se. I mean, it's really just like, I mean, part of what I'm trying to capture, I guess, with a lot of what I'm doing is like when I was a kid, you know, when my dad would drive us to fucking Florida or, you know, to play golf or whatever, being in the passenger seat and just listen to my dad tell stories. You know, my dad could just endlessly tell stories from his life, do sort of cultural commentary, impressions, little improvised skits. And I don't know, I think as human beings, that's like a very comfortable position for us and like a very natural position for us to be kind of these listeners, these passenger kind of, you know, like the fucking Canterbury Tales or something, right? That's all these pilgrims on a pilgrimage to Canterbury, and they're in some bar or something. They're like in the tavern, and they're just telling stories. The Maid's Tale, the Pardoner's Tale. You know, it's just, that's what people did for fucking entertainment before there was fucking Netflix and a million different options of things that in the studio with Seth Rogen and all that shit. Here we are at the Masters, everybody, at Augusta. Check out this beautiful scenery. And so I think this kind of epic storytelling form is very natural, you know, for people. And it's sort of how human memory works in a way. You know, our memories, the way that we narrativize our experience, you know, coupled with, I don't know, whatever we know about psychology or just like human development, you know, we're constantly kind of like organizing our experience into these sort of metaphorical strategies of understanding that are narrative, that are, you know, unconscious. There's desires and trauma and all of that shit in there. But it's also like the poetic tale of our experience, you know, and like, for me, I'm somebody who believes in the meaning of that. You know, I do believe that there is no such thing as chance, actually. I think that, you know, the things that happen to us are part of some kind of like, by experiencing the story of our lives and living our lives, I don't know, we're sort of revealed, I don't know, some kind of truth about life, or truth of, there's, you know, it's soul school, right, or something. Planet Earth is like this place where your soul comes to get educated. And so by meeting the people you meet, having whatever the clashes with them. And so I think, you know, memoir or narrativizing our own experience, turning into these sort of epic storytelling things, is the way we have of quantifying and you know, it's almost like astrology or something, where it's like there's certain parts of your personality based on, you know, when you arrived here in this realm that like need to be worked out, exercised, cathartically, you know, milked or something. And so that's like the adventure of life, you know, is like the mystery of why we meet who we meet, when we meet them, being in the right place at the right time. And so I don't know, I like the idea that Spalding Gray was turning his own experience into his drama. You know, I mean, he was a theater person, right? He was an actor. And this was his theater, was this kind of one person. And so, I mean, it goes without saying that's a huge influence on this. I mean, I have a line in one of my poems, I want to be the Grateful Dead of Spalding Grays, which my poems are meant to be like little guitar solos of my experience. You know, they're meant to be like these little Jerry Garcia paintings or whatever of like I'm saying, the kind of like poetic mathematics of what happens to us and what it means. You know, not necessarily decoding it, but just like allowing it to exist as a metaphor. You know, It's not saying, oh, this thing happened to me, which means this. It's more just like, oh, this thing happens to me, and like, here it is, and let it kind of resonate, and let meaning kind of like strike off that in a lot of different ways. And it's up to everybody. I mean, everybody. And so I think the audience, is but I think that's one reason why fucking podcasts are so popular, because people do just kind of want to listen. And entertainment has been selling us this thing that like things have to come at us in 8-minute commercial breaks, and there has to be these kind of like cliffhangers and shit to get people to watch the commercials. I think that's what we're seeing with like these late night talk shows, is like, I think they thought they were doing us a favor by keeping the interviews short and, doing pre-interviews and just making, it's all celebrities. But it's like, what people really want to see is like a 3-hour fucking unedited conversation with Joe Rogan, where they just let things sort of take their course and be improvised. That's not really a surprise to me that that's popular, but I think it's just dawning on like the entertainment industry, like, oh wait, people actually like this. People actually want a 3-hour fucking long, deep conversation about deep shit, not just some kind of television late night talk show where they have some kind of cursory, very surface level product of a conversation. Let's get Finn Wolfhard on here and promote whatever the fuck he's in. His new band, or Government Cheese. That was the show that guy was, the David Oyelowo. Let me sit here for a moment and just kind of get my bearings. I'm just getting rolling here, everybody. We're talking about video games today. The Spalding Gray video game of life. And, that was one reason why I focused on writing and poetry and things like that, because that made sense to me. This idea that poetry is not like an Adam Sandler movie where it's like a medium is the message thing. If you have these movies and these kind of overwhelming images that just play for people in this automated kind of assembly line of indoctrination, you can supplant their actual experience and kind of tell them, because your body doesn't know the difference. If I'm watching a fucking Platoon, I'm like, okay, that's sort of what Vietnam was like, probably. When in reality, it might not be like it at all. I think that's one of the things that I like about our current moment, and I embrace about it, is like, now the movies and the images at least are coming from real life. You get a little bit more eyewitness. So at least like a lot of the stuff we're looking at through our phones is like actual footage of things, and not just like some kind of bad Hollywood manipulation of it. And when the idea, Spalding Gray, like a lot of those guys, talks about how he grew up listening to radio. Wallace Shawn and Andre Gregory talk about that too. My Dinner with Andre kind of precluded the whole podcast era. And podcast is just radio, really. It's just fucking fresh air with Terry Gross, essentially. And but that's all we need, I think, as human beings. It's like we would almost rather, what's better than like listening to a fucking bedtime story, That's one of the things that I love so much about poetry world and literary world, is it's just adults like reading to each other. It's like, that's what you do to kids. Adults don't do that. You read to your children, and then when they grow up, they start playing video games and watching fucking Seth Rogen movies. But as a child, it's like your parents read to you, and you in your head, you imagine the fucking Lorax or whatever the fuck it is. The Redwall, Brian Jacques characters. Whereas, I mean, video games, on the other hand, are like the complete opposite of that, where it's like literally supplanting your entire like reality experience with this sort of like pseudo reality, where there's like physics. You literally feel like you're in kind of another body in this world inside the game. Which, I mean, I guess part of it is like, for me, you want to create active human beings. And by writing poetry, something that's like difficult to read, difficult to understand, not just boiling shit down to like spoon feeding them, you know, some kind of plot or whatever, some kind of action, like the fucking Minecraft movie. I watched 20 minutes of it's like every movie made now, where it's just like this CGI generated chase sequence where they're just like flying around. Jack Black and Jason Momoa are like falling off shit. Jason Momoa hits Jack Black in the face with these nunchucks. And it's like, it's all fake. It's all just computer generated bullshit. So there's no charm to it. You know, at least with something like Bullet or Blues Brothers or something with like a real, you know, chase scene, the fucking Keystone Cops or something, it's like, oh shit, how did they do that? They got real cars, they slammed them together, they ramped the cars. It's like, there's a charm to that because you know there was some trick or some kind of effort that they... Now it's just like, they're just in front of a green screen and they CGI a bunch of fucking like big drop-offs they could fall off. It's like, oh my god, Jack Black almost fell to his death. It's like, who gives a fuck? And the whole Minecraft like environment is super janky looking. It's like, it sort of looks like Super Mario World, but like, it's very like, it's like 2D, but they made it 3D. And this is like a huge fucking movie. You know, Jack Black just fucking hosted Saturday Night Live. A Minecraft movie, #1 goddamn movie in America. You know, it's just another kind of infantilization. With, you know, the superhero movies are obviously a part of that, but like now it's like some of the biggest fucking movies, like the Super Mario Brothers movie with Chris fucking whatever the fuck his name is like $1 billion grossing movie. That just shows you how worthless the dollar is. The fucking Super Mario. I mean, when I was a kid, like Titanic was literally the only movie that had ever made $1 billion. Now it's like the goddamn Super Mario motherfucker. And not the one with Dennis Hopper, not the good one. See, there's some video game movies that are okay. If you get John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins, it's like, okay, you got yourself a fucking movie. But the Minecraft movie, I don't know. From my understanding of Minecraft, and I'm not really sure what it is, but as far as I know, like Minecraft, don't they have like farms of people in like Korea and China that like literally all they do is play Minecraft all day every day till they like fucking starve to death, because like you can mine actual like this you're mining by, you're like digging in the ground for like this fake resource. It's almost like a precursor or like a metaphor for like Bitcoin or something, it feels like to me, where it's like I said, I don't know what Minecraft is. I don't play it. I've never even fucking seen it. It looks hideous. The movie looks hideous. I've never played Fortnite. I haven't played any of the GTAs after Vice City. I'm an ex-Centennial, okay? And I piss on the Minecraft movie. Because it's like, what the fuck is this movie about? Jack Black, they must have paid him $30 million. Because he's just like working it. Every fucking shot, Jack Black's like, yeah, yeah! We have to find the fucking... You know, it's like, dude, kids are gonna love this movie because of Jack Black. Yeah, Rage Cage! It's like, god damn. I mean, he is funny, but he looks like shit. Jack Black looks like he's gonna have a heart attack like any second. He's not looking good. But it's okay because that's our culture. Our culture is like this fantasy. The comic book store guy from The Simpsons is like the target demographic of everything. There's been like a nerdification. This is why I feel okay shitting on video games, because it's like they run everything. Doge. That sounds like some kind of dumbass Minecraft fucking term. Dogecoin. Somebody who rotted their brain playing goddamn Minecraft. So yeah, it's like you can actually, you're actually mining this shit in the game that's like some kind of gold or something in the world of Minecraft. And it's like, it's worth actual money in real life. Like all of this stupid video game shit. Like I remember in high school, my friend's brother, who was a total idiot, had an Ultima Online character that he sold for like, he sold it for like thousands of dollars in like the real world. On eBay or some shit. He sold his Ultima Online character because its stats were so leveled up and shit. He probably sold it to Elon Musk. So he could fake like he's actually good at Ultima Online. But in any case, get a life. It's just a TV show. Move out of your parents' basement. You look like you're 30 years old. Have you ever kissed a girl? No, you're too busy watching the fucking Minecraft movie. I mean, this is why the video game thing is like kind of a crisis. Because like men have like surrendered to the power and the beauty of the Unreal Tournament engine. And it's just, you know, this is something I've commented on before, but it's crazy to me how much of our language and how much of the way that people are seeing the world is through like video game lexicon, video game terminology. Oh, he even like something like leveled up. Like that's from a fucking video game. Oh, dude, I'm on a side quest. I'm leveling up. It's like there's just so much fucking... I mean, Hollywood is dying. Movies are dying. People do want like a more immersive experience, I guess, particularly men. I think it placates like the hunter instinct. Like men, right, are like these, we go out into the forest or whatever with our fucking spears or our bows and like we hunt animals and like, you know, we're sort of designed to be on this like protector quest where we're like, you know, we need some kind of like motor skill stimulation and like sports, you know, moving around with the fucking football or even like golf. Like watching all these fucking golf clips, I'm like, we're like fucking apes. This is seriously entertaining to us, like watching fucking Tiger Woods trying to chip out of a fucking bunker. Like, why is this fucking, why, this is like got millions of people fascinated on television and like crowds. The you know, the effect that Tiger Woods had on crowds was like the fucking Beatles. If you watch those tournaments now, I didn't really realize how much of a performance golf is. And like Jack Nicklaus, I remember seeing, we would go to the practice rounds at Muirfield Village because it was like cheaper and you could get the tickets easy. But it'd be like Jack Nicklaus, like one practice round, I think we saw Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player. It was like Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, Tom Watson, and like, I think Ernie Els or something was like the fourth guy. It was like, this is a fucking practice round. But the whole time, Jack Nicklaus is making jokes like he's fucking Henny Youngman or something. It's like Jack Nicklaus is like part Rat Pack. He's almost like an entertainer. Like he's got that Bob Hope kind of personality. Like I was talking about, this kind of white executive class. Bob Hope was kind of like the exemplar of like this kind of benevolent white male, patriarchal, post-war CEO, you know, chairman of the board, right, is what they called Sinatra. And Carson's like that too. He's almost like the CEO of comedy or something. And so it's like watching Jack Nicklaus with this crowd crack cheesy jokes and fucking... He's part Bob Hope. And Tiger, like, people, I mean, the shit the guy would do was like, you know, he'd hit some fucking shot in the woods. You think, oh, he's fucked. He's going to get a double bogey or something. And he ends up making a birdie or something. You know, he makes some 90-foot putt from like the fringe. You're like, Jesus Christ. This guy's trying to make the lowest fucking score he possibly can. every time out of the gate. You know, he's not resigned to anything. It's like he's determined to be strong, get power, and go over. And, you know, to continue my golf exploration, I think, you know, Tiger Woods is like the exemplar of that era, as sort of like the representative of like that executive type of feeling and that kind of like financial. You know, Tiger Woods, his career kind of buckled right when the recession hit in 2008. Something astrologically happened. Maybe it was the changeover to Pluto and Pisces or Capricorn. But the crash happened in 2008, and Tiger Woods' girlfriend caught him cheating. And he broke his leg, you know, it's like, and so his career just kind of collapsed. There was no bailout for Tiger Woods. There was no emotional bailout. Yeah, but I mean, sports and everything was always performance for me. You know, I was never going to be that good at that's basketball or anything. So it was like, I just tried to be funny or turn it into some kind of, you know. But that being said, there are ways that you do that like, I don't know. There's certain things that people get mesmerized by. Why is Tiger Woods so hypnotic? Why do these people follow him around? Why was there this sort of like mania, right? Like Beatlemania, these things that produce, you know, like Adam Sandler, man. When I saw Adam Sandler in fucking Soho, people were following him down the street. Kids, you know, just like running around, you know, it was a crazy effect to see, actually. Sort of messianic in a way. But as human beings, certain things attain that level of attention. I'm gonna put my sweater on. It's kind of chilly. It's like 65 degrees out, but it's not warm. It's my weather report here live from Central Park. More Central Park show for everybody. So we're talking about video games. We're shitting on video games and we're shaming people for wasting their lives. No, I get it. Like they're fun. To me, it's like there's so much goddamn work. You know, like these adventure games that are like linear and like, you know, where there's missions and you gotta like complete it and do it. Like I was playing some fucking space shooter game. It was a lot like the original Halo. I don't know what it was. I think it was for PS5. And it was just like, this is exhausting. This is stressful. Like, I don't want to do this. If I'm going to put this much effort into something, like, I want like a real reward. I want like money or like, you know, some kind of fucking, I don't want like an achievement unlocked, you know, like, I don't really see how people can like abdicate their own experience for that. Like, how do they feel okay with that? And these people that'll watch video games online, people playing them, it's like, that's the other thing that's like mind-boggling to me. Like, that's what because my buddy was talking about Twitch 15 fucking years ago, and we were just like, is this gonna work? Will people watch this? Columbus, Ohio, I think, is one of the only places that has a Major League Gaming arena. You know, like Columbus, Ohio is a great place to play video games because everything sucks there. It's flat, it's gray, the weather sucks. So it's like, yeah, just fucking get a PlayStation 5 and yeah, of course it's better in Vice City. Like, it's not just a big like sprawl of parking lots and fast food and like fucking freeways. Like, and it's just like there's so many things in our media and in the powers that control us that are trying to like hypnotize us and get us passive and get us sedate and sitting in a fucking chair and not, out in the world protesting or paying attention. Like I'm sure there's a high correlation between gamers and Trumpers. That was why I didn't get on Twitch, because everybody was a fucking 16-year-old Trumper. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But I remember talking about it 15 years ago with my buddy who was super into crypto and Elon Musk and all of the dumb shit that runs our world now. And just being like, will people actually this is the dumbest thing ever. Have people lost their minds? Like, who in their fucking right mind is going to sit around and watch somebody play video games? It's like, what could be more of a waste of your life? Like, okay, as much as I shit on gamers, they are kind of active. I mean, they are doing something. Like I said, playing these games is a lot of work. They're not easy. It's not easy to get 100% on fucking Elder Scrolls or whatever the fuck it is. I've got 1,000 hours logged. I've wasted 1,000 hours of my life playing Morrowind. It's like, how can you look at yourself in the fucking mirror? You could have and yet people shit on you for being in a band or trying to oh God, nobody wants to come see your music. Nobody wants to come support the arts. People think you're and if you try to do anything creative or original, people just overlook it. They just act like it's sort of some kind of cry for attention. But yeah, totally, it's completely a good thing and socially acceptable to spend 1,000 hours on some fucking stupid video game where you're literally not seeing another human being. I mean, it's the ultimate comfort zone. The thing about video games, it's a way of having vicarious experience with absolutely no risk. It's the Matrix. You're completely a pod person. You're in your little fucking beanbag chair with your wireless controller and your fucking headset in your, PlayStation Network or whatever it is. And there's it's like a comment section. It's like a socialization at a distance. You don't know these people. You're never going to meet them in real life. You can call them racist slurs or whatever. There's going to be no consequences because, it's not in person. And so people spend more and more time in that world. They become more and more derealized. They become more and more dissociated. And when we were debating, is this going to be popular? Is Twitch going to be popular? Will people actually watch video games? I remember having the thought that when people's digital avatar and their digital presence becomes more of their incarnation than their actual life. Because part of the reason we watch sports is to see physical excellence, see human bodies doing things that are literally Tiger Woods winning the fucking US Open by 15 shots. It just shows that he is up here, everybody else is here, and it's for some reason genetically we're wired. It's a way of indicating superiority. And I guess as human beings, we root for that because they're on our, LeBron James is one of us, Tiger Woods is one of us. So it's that just shows what's possible. And it's an era that we lived through that people talk about that's gone. Golf is not like that now. It's not as exciting. The viewership is way down. And so, when you watch sports, it's sort of you're watching human beings do things that are some kind of masterful version of what we all do. We all can play basketball, we all can fucking play golf. And so why would I watch video games? It's well, I remember my buddy saying something about Dota is like chess, but way more complicated. It's just it's way more fluid. There's way more sort of, nuances and sort of considerations. So it's this hyper version of chess. It's actually the modern version of chess because it's a better indication of
a complicated brain power responding to this really fluctuating set of circumstances. Whereas chess, it's like very standardized. It's like there's only so many things that pieces can do. There's only so many squares on the board. You know, even though there's a lot of possibilities of what can happen in chess. So I don't know if I really agree with that, but I think that is part of the reason why these digital sports have gotten, if you want to call them that, so popular, is it's like people are living in the fucking digital world. And so you're seeing, you know, if somebody, like I remember in Columbus, there were these guys, the Ogres, they were like the world's best Halo players. These guys like lived in Pickerington. I forget, they had some names, the Ogres or something. And, you know, if you want to look at it that way, like, yeah, I guess they are like Olympic caliber athletes, but like, who fucking cares? You're just like twiddling your fucking thumbs, essentially, when it gets down to it, if you took the controller away. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've spent hundreds of hours of my life and had shitloads of fun. I mean, playing Halo on a LAN party is probably the most fun you can have as a human being on planet Earth. Because I think as men, it satiates this like hunter thing in a vicarious way, where it's like, I don't have to go and like sit in a fucking tree stand and it's like the winter time in the middle of fucking bumfuck Ohio and like hunt deer or something. I'm not like in my moccasins like trying to shoot like some kind of buffalo. It's like I'm at home, I'm eating a fucking Hot Pocket. You know, I've probably got some kind of music on or something from my, you know. And people's home theater systems have just become like all-encompassing. I mean, with the advent of 4K and 8K and HD and flat screen and projectors, you know, and Reign Over Me, he's playing that fucking Colossus game on a projector TV. Because he's dissociating. He's checked out of real life because his family died in 9/11. What's your excuse? Like, you know, these comedians, it's like at least they're like in life, like facing like this terrifying thing. Like, I'm going to get on stage and try to make people laugh, like in real life. Like, that takes some balls. But like, there's absolutely nothing in a video game that takes any balls whatsoever. I'm sorry. It's all like virtual. And, you know, that's not to say that it isn't like this incredible art form and like completely doesn't, I think it totally deserves to exist. I just wish it didn't use up so much of people's consciousness and like attention, I guess, and particularly men, I suppose, because it does seem like it kind of, I mean, but you could say the same thing about reading. I mean, what's more antisocial than fucking reading? You know, other than maybe live streaming and mansplaining. I mean, like, reading is like the most like, hey, fuck you, don't talk to me thing. You know, at least like with a video game, it's like you can sit around. And I will say this, when I was a little kid, my brother Jack was older and he would beat me up if I wanted to play. He liked those kind of games that are like single player, adventure, quests, you know, like he played Metal Gear. I watched him play Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation, right? A lot of my childhood, I didn't actually play video games. I'd sit there and watch while my brother played video games. And I guess that's what people do on Twitch. That's what people do on streaming. It's like, there is a pleasure in a weird way. I mean, is it really different than watching a movie? In a certain way, maybe it's a more modern version of that. It's sort of a hero's journey. And the only thing people seem to give a fuck about is the action scenes and the chase scenes anyway. People want everything to be just one goddamn CGI chase scene that doesn't mean anything. Because it's like a video game. I mean, the movies, I think they know they're fucked. And, you know, Metal Gear Solid was, you know, an interesting story about the military-industrial complex and the Cold War, and, you know, it ripped off all those John Carpenter movies. but it was cinematic, and it was, 50-hour experience rather than 2 hours, or it sort of predated, the binge watching and the long form television shit. So I get it, like, what's better than staying at home after work and ordering a fucking Pizza Hut pizza and stuffed crust and a 2-liter and playing fucking, Switch 2 or whatever the fuck it is. WWE 2K5. I mean, I knew that if I wanted to get good at, like, being an artist, I would have to devote all of my time to that. Or at least, I don't know, that's just what I became more obsessed with. Like, video games, like, I think there are games, like, I like the open world games, and I like the creative games. Will Wright, I think, is a genius. Shigeru Miyamoto, who did Zelda and Mario, I think is a genius. I think Mario and Zelda and Grand Theft Auto and certain games are, like, as great as anything culturally that exists in human history, frankly. Zelda and Mario are as good as the Beatles or Shakespeare. I mean that sincerely. Like, Miyamoto is like Shakespeare, absolutely 100%. Those games are like works of complete genius. And to some degree, they maybe are a little more empowering. Like, when you're in the Zelda world of Hyrule, running around on a fucking horse and shit, that is a pretty magical goddamn childhood experience. And it kind of enhances your actual experience because it gives you idea. I mean, I remember when I was a little kid running around thinking about how certain parts of my hometown looked like Hyrule and shit, and thinking about my life in those terms as if it were a video game. Like, I don't necessarily think that's anything new. I think in a certain way, game is like the greatest way we've invented to, like, be God. Like, you're such a top-down, like, controller of, like, the fucking entity or whatever, particularly in things like SimCity or Zelda, where you have this, God, literally God's eye view. And, that's something I'm curious about in a lot of forms of art. This, like, when I was a little kid, I loved to go to the rich kid toy store and play with these wooden train sets. Brio. They were called Brio. These little wooden, because it's like I don't know, there's something fun about that little miniaturization and acting out, real world scenarios. I think video games are kind of the most complicated, advanced way we have of doing that. Like, doing this little puppetry or whatever of the Richard Scarry Busy World, or the Micro Machines, or I had this game Populous. Did anybody play Populous for Super Nintendo? I got it for $20 at the used video game store. I used to reserve shit. I was at the Halo midnight launch for Halo 2 at Electronics Boutique at Easton. I skipped Columbus State Community College the next day to play Halo 2 because I was such a fucking murder junkie. Have you ever seen that movie Toys with Robin Williams? That is 100% accurate. Like, these war simulations are 100% like priming and patterning young men to be like, I mean, I guess it's better than fighting a real fucking war. It's better to act that out through Call of Duty or Team Fortress or Medal of Honor or Half-Life or Quake 2. I played Quake 2. I love fucking Quake 2. I love blowing people away with the shotgun on Quake 2 in the Columbine era. Listening to Nine Inch Nails, wearing in the Trenchcoat Mafia. The 90s, before 9/11, those were innocent times. It was Columbine, it was only the beginning. as men, maybe it's what we do. We just rage. We have to play Turok Rage Wars. Get that cerebral bore out. And fucking what was that game it was for Xbox. They literally had a move in the game called curb stomping. That was fucked up. I really hate, this is a tangent, I really hate the way that American History X movie has like popularized curb stomping. That's like, curb stomping is like such a gruesome, disgusting thing to think about. And that's the video game world. It's like the Adam Sandler world. It's the little immature. I remember when I was a kid, there were sophisticated games. Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? I used to go to the library every Saturday because there was like a computer game club where you could play Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. I loved the show on PBS with the actress from the Adam Sandler movie, Anger Management. I forget her name. Lavette. And Rockapella. That was like a time when video games had a conscience. Is there an equivalent now? You know, like I think as human beings, it's natural to gamify shit. It makes it fun. I used to love going to Damon's, was this rib place, and they had 4 projector screens. This is the 90s, and they'd have sports, and they had a little changer on your table where you could change the audio between the screens. But then on one of the screens, they had trivia, right? I loved playing the goddamn trivia. Going to Damon's, because they had this little keyboard, this radio keyboard thing. So you'd put your answer in on the big screen, and they'd have your, you'd be on the screen if you were winning and shit. You'd be on the scoreboard. Those were the days. Like I'm not anti-video game. I'm even curious about ways it can be integrated in reality. Like, I thought Pokemon Go was kind of a cool idea. Augmented reality is not necessarily a bad idea if it's used kind of sparingly, which it won't be. People were so afraid that the vaccine had, and now, literally, the guy in charge wants to put Neuralink in people. Like, Neuralink is the mark of the beast, people. I'm sorry. I don't want the Neuralink. Fuck off. We had a Virtua Boy. That's how big of video game addicts we were. We were Nintendo. We really didn't have a Sega ever. Our friend John Ryan had a Sega CD. The games were kind of like adult. There was kind of racy shit for 7-year-olds. There was some game he had that was like a Blade Runner detective game that we were obsessed with. But we had Nintendo, Super Nintendo. Probably my happiest memories were playing Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. I mean, I remember the Christmas Nintendo 64 came out. You couldn't even get one. It was like fucking Turbo Man. Somehow, miraculously, the Meijer on the west side got an emergency shipment of Nintendo 64s, and we managed to get one. This was before, I don't know. As we grew up, shit like reserving and midnight release and pre-ordering, right? I never heard the word pre-order until, video game stores. So that's our childhood, is video games. I mean, we had a fucking Nintendo. I remember going to my grandma's house. My Uncle Bill had NES, which came out in '85, the year I was born. And we were obsessed with it as children. We couldn't help it. It was the greatest thing in the world. You can't argue with that in a way. Human beings are just responding naturally. But it's just like everything in our society that's bad for you. It's we love it. We love soda pop. We love ice cream. We love fast food. We love Adam Sandler films. We hate watching the 3-hour-long Bergman salad of a fucking movie. I want to watch Little Nicky again. Popeye's chicken is fucking awesome. Put on Little Nicky for the 100th time. I want to watch Grandma's Boy again. while I'm playing fucking, while I'm beating up prostitutes in Grand Theft Auto 3, while I'm assaulting women for fun, like it's a fucking joke. It's sick. It's sick what these games do to our youth. I blame the video games. I blame Quake 2. So yeah, we had a Virtua Boy. Did you ever play Virtua Boy? That was an early VR experiment on children. I think you couldn't play it for like more than 45 minutes because you get a headache. But I loved the Mario Tennis for Virtua Boy was fucking dope as hell. That was a fucking great game. Nintendo always made great controls. The gameplay was always 100% on. Any Nintendo, like, released, if Nintendo engineered and put their fucking name on it, you know that motherfucking playability and the controls were just gonna be absolutely on point and magical. I mean, the calibration on the original Mario game for NES is like so insanely nuanced, and the touch of it is just so nice. And I love those games. To me, they're like the silent movies. You know, Mario and Zelda is like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin or something. It's like these games are like unimpeachable. And you know, Mario teaches you everything through physical comedy, basically. It's a platformer. There's no, you know, there's no fucking cutscenes. There's no fucking, like, on-screen dialogue. The princess is in another castle. That's all you get. Thank you, Mario, but the princess is, that's as deep as it gets. You're a fucking plumber. She's a fucking babe who's, like, royalty. And there's, like, this weird dragon guy with the fucking, like, spikes on his back. That's, like, it's like, it makes no sense at all. But you don't need, you know, who gives a fuck? It's beyond that. It's beyond, you know, something that would... You know what game I love? Did you ever play River City Ransom? River City Ransom for Nintendo is one of the greatest fucking pieces of art ever made. It's almost like a West Side Story video game. It's very Sondheim. For like a, you know, in the 80s and 90s, there was a whole genre of games where you're just like a group of guys that go around beating the shit out of people. That was like, you know, 80% of video games were like just beating the shit out of people. Like Streets of Rage. We don't know why they were pissed off. Mike Hager is pissed off. We don't know why. He's took his shirt off. He's got a fucking strap across his chest, and we're just gonna roam the streets beating the fuck out of bad guys. Double Dragon. Did you ever play Double Dragon? I mean, there's tons of... I mean, do you remember... Did anybody ever read Sean Baby? One of the most memorable nights of my life. In, I think, probably 7th or 8th grade, we discovered emulators. I don't know if people know what emulators are, but the Nesticle, holy shit. The night we discovered the Nesticle was like literally one of the greatest nights of my life. Because emulators, basically what they do is they play any video game ever on your computer. They imitate, you know, the hardware of the different systems. You know, like there's a Nintendo emulator, there's a Super Nintendo emulator, there's a Sega, blah, blah, blah. Now they have emulators that can do everything. You know, literally there's fucking Super Mario 64 on like a fucking handheld emulator now. Whereas like at this time, they couldn't even do a Super Nintendo emulator. It was too complicated. The fucking layers or something, the computer couldn't handle it and it would freak out. But the Nintendo emulator, the Nesticle, was the all-time greatest shit. I mean, it could play any fucking video game, which, you know, as 12-year-olds who had, you know, we played a lot of games in our early childhood that, like, we rented from Blockbuster or whatever, West Coast Video, and Rygar or some shit, but, like, you didn't own it. Back then, you had to own the shit. Then they invented emulators. It was sort of like, you know, Napster of video games almost. It was stealing, essentially. It was liberating. You were liberating the content. You know, tech has been great about that, liberating the content from the people who created it. So Nesticle holy shit, was just like a pitch perfect Nintendo emulator. And the same night we downloaded Nesticle, we discovered this guy Sean Baby, who was like, you know, this was like E-Bombs World era internet. There weren't even blogs or anything like that. Everything was like, I don't know, Angel Cities or something. You had to actually know how to like write HTML to like do any kind of website whatsoever. And so this guy Sean Baby would write reviews of like shitty Nintendo games from, you know, Elevator Action or whatever. And it was like the funniest shit, you know, I'd ever read. I mean, we were laughing our asses off at goddamn Sean Baby. And I think he got on G4 and shit. Like Sean Baby actually like, dude, I used to go on IGN every single fucking day. In 1996, 97, 98, I would check IGN like it was the fucking New York Times. I wanted to know about video game news. I was so obsessed with the Mission Impossible game. Holy shit. I don't know if people remember the Mission Impossible game for Nintendo 64, but it was one of the first games announced. It was literally announced like with the system. So it was supposed to be like a launch title. And it just got delayed and delayed and delayed. I mean, it was an endless fucking development limbo forever. So, I don't know. That was an early example of me just being a masochist and getting off on that kind of shit. But I decided my obsession in life was going to be the Mission Impossible game. Because, you know, it was GoldenEye era, and I sort of had some kind of hopes that, like, the Mission Impossible game was going to be, like, better than GoldenEye or something. Ha ha ha. And I just, like, literally waited 2 years for this fucking game. And the day it came out, I had to go play golf. Because my dad was going to take us to the Toys R Us where they had it at one Toys R Us on Dublin Granville Road. And so we were going to go pick it up. I called the fucking stores. Hey, do you have Mission? It's supposed to come out July, I don't know, 1997 or 8 or something. So I call the fucking Toys R Us. No, we don't have it. I call the fucking Toys R Us. No, we don't have it. I call the Toys R Us. They have it. They fucking somehow have it on Dublin Granville Road. So my dad says he'll take us, but we have to go play golf first. So literally, we're on the golf course, 18 fucking holes. 18 holes. You know, I'm 12. This is an eternity. And then we buy the fucking Mission Impossible game finally, after all these years of waiting for it. And literally, I opened it up. I played it like for one night, and I never played it again. It was so shitty. It was not like GoldenEye. It was okay. But it was not what they said it was going to be at all. So, I don't know. That was early, you know, like Grand Theft Auto 6, I guess, has been in development forever. You know, it's like, if you're a game fan, I don't know. There's something about the devotion to it. It's just too intense, you know? And I think, is it a sublimation of, like, sexual energy? I don't know. Like, to me, all of that energy goes to, like, women. You know, and now it's like the energy that I've left over goes to like art and career and friends and shit like that. You know, it's like work basically. You know, it's like I don't know who has time to spend 1,000 fucking hours playing Morrowind unless you've just like totally given up on life. But somehow people manage that work-life balance. They managed to play video games for shitloads of hours a week and work and, you know, have friends and shit. I just saw this interview in Interview Magazine with Hamlet and Grand Theft Auto. There's some kind of, I think, or is it Uncle Vanya? Or is it the chair? Something. They did some goddamn play in Grand Theft Auto. Apparently that's very cutting edge now. Doing like theater, you know, it's like, just do whatever you do. We should do a poetry reading on Grand Theft Auto. Is there some way I could like host an open mic on Grand Theft Auto? One night a week? Come to my GTA 6 open mic. At the KGB bar in Grand Theft Auto. I think KGB bar would fit perfectly in Grand Theft Auto. It'd be a great location for some cutscenes. So I don't know. It's like it's a love-hate relationship, you know. I understand the gamer mind, and I've been a gamer, but I don't know. You know, they're doing Hamlet in fucking Grand Theft Auto. They get an article written about them in the goddamn Interview magazine. You know, maybe if I devoted, you know, this was the thing I was talking about the other day. Is like when I was younger, there was some sense that like, okay, I need to stop playing video games because it's like undisciplined. You know, I need to take that. I need 4 hours every day to write. I need to write 8 pages a day to get good at writing. I can't be playing fucking video games. You know, there was some sense that it was like irresponsible and it was going to be counterproductive and like bad for your career to play video games. I never would have got down to Columbus, Ohio if I was a video game addict. And I think the opposite is true. If I was a video game live streamer, I'd probably have way more people watching me. I should have kept playing video games. I should have played more video games. When I first moved to New York, I bought a Nintendo Wii because I thought playing Wii would like de-stress me. It'd be like a sort of a mindless activity to sort of relax while still being, you know, active or whatever. All I ever played on it, I had a Tiger Woods golf game which had Augusta National on it. That's why I bought it, so I could play Augusta National, actually, to tie it back to the Masters thing. That theme I've been developing for April, Magnolia. But, and it was worth it. You know, the thing about the Wii is, like, you get off the couch. That's Nintendo being an ethical company. They're saying, we don't want these kids playing these, like, sadistic, violent, loner, first-person shooter games. We want you to play with your friends. We want you to get up. We want you to do Wii bowling. And have, like, this cute little avatar and shit. And it's like this, you know, Nintendo wanted to... Mario Party. Play with your friends. It's social. It's not like you're Dylan Klebold or whatever. Playing Quake 2. But it's like, this was a joke that I do in my comedy act. I guess it's not really a joke, but it's more of a premise. I think it went over the audience's head. Like most things I do, it just goes right over people's heads. They just don't get it. But I was like, you know, make the metaverse GTA 5 and people will do it. You know, like the metaverse is so lame where it's like people already are spending most of their lives in the goddamn metaverse. Like that is what Grand Theft Auto is. You know, Grand Theft Auto has a comedy club in the fucking game where you can go and watch Cat Williams and Ricky Gervais do like virtual comedy sets. It's like, that is the metaverse. That's the same thing they're trying to do in the metaverse. It's just like gamify the metaverse. And people are already dying on World of Warcraft and shit. Or Minecraft. They're dying to mine like this fake resource that doesn't actually exist in the real world, but somehow has monetary value. Just like Bitcoin. Is there some kind of Bitcoin tie-in with Minecraft? Or am I imagining that? It feels like there should be, or there is, or... Maybe I'll walk a little bit. Let's walk, shall we? Just like we're playing golf. Here at Darby Creek. So, you know, I think you got to recognize that, like, video games are here. It's like in Magnificent Ambersons. You know, you could apply that speech
that Joseph Cotton gives about automobiles to so many fucking things in our lives. You know, that Timothy Holt says, I think automobiles are a useless nuisance. And Joseph Cotton says, you know, I'm not sure Georgie is wrong about automobiles. You know, for all the speed forward, they might be a step backward. You know, they're going to accelerate people's lives. They're just going to change the way we live. You know, and this movie came out in 1942, right before they ripped up every fucking major downtown in America to build the interstate. But he says, you know, but automobiles are here. You know, their time has arrived. And so, I freaking, it's a beautiful speech. I'm like massacring it. It's Joseph Cotton, you know, so it's classic. But, you know, that's how I feel about everything now. Phones, you know, video games, whatever the fuck it is. AI, I guess, is going to be the next thing that totally fucks our lives up for the worse. Because it's going to be used in this really irresponsible way by idiots. But AI is here. You know, video games are here. You know, is it good that young people are spending all this time? I mean, we're all online. We're all on screens one way or another. You know, I'm on fucking TikTok every waking second. I don't have, you know, any kind of obligation. So, can we really judge the fucking video game people? I mean, well, I think part of the issue is this election and fascism and, right, the gender divide politically. A lot of these spaces are like where this sort of right-wing kind of idiotic mentality is being created. And so, I don't know. I mean, to me, I thought Grand Theft Auto was a pretty amazing satire of this country. And the people that play it seem to get that. But I don't know. There's something about I don't know. Why are these games so libertarian or something? You know, why is there this kind of like South Park, Joe Rogan, you know, Family Guy. This shit's all really old, I guess. You know, Trump Twitch fucking teenagers. Theo Vaughn, people that watch Theo Vaughn, people that watch Kill Tony, or whoever the fuck that guy is who does the fucking Dr. Phil thing. Adam Ray or whatever. You know, I do think that there was this cultural push to just like disown men and shame men and blame men for every goddamn thing for the past decade since Trump. You know, it's been 10 years, really, since Trump got elected the first time. That's crazy to think about. But, you know, he has been the president sort of more or less for 10 years. Now that he's back and he's making all these fucking decisions, you know, major decisions, it's almost like he never even fucking left. We've been living in sort of the shadow and a reaction to this new paradigm that he pushed us into, basically for 10 years at this point. And so, you know, a lot of young guys, you know, they're probably playing video games all the fucking time anyway. And, you know, they're not going to college. They're not being educated at the same rates that women are. And they're being told by the whole world that they're pieces of shit. Nobody likes them. So what are they going to do? Of course they're just going to dissociate and play goddamn video games. They can't get any fucking Tinder dates. As corny as it fucking sounds, you know, like there do need to be like ways of like developing young men. You know, whether it's, I don't know, the fucking Boy Scouts or Boys and Girls Big Brothers or something, or golf teams, high school golf teams. You know, I was on the tennis team. I was on the fucking bowling team. But even beyond that, like, that's all like a corny fucking society way of teaching you that shit. You know, it's like I don't really feel like I was taught any fucking agency until I was moved to New York. And you know, I was always suspicious about the things that were bred into the lifestyle in sort of like American culture that make people passive and make people, I don't know, just sort of dumbs them down, right? Like that's what My Dinner with Andre is about. It's about how everybody's asleep because they're in all these automated processes. You know, in Columbus, Ohio, it's like you drive everywhere. You eat fast food, you drink, you eat pizza, you watch football. You know, you just sort of support whatever it is, patriotism, the military. You know, you don't fucking ask questions. You play video games, you watch TV, you watch movies. You know, you know, there's people that do poetry, but they're very few and far between. And you know, it's like you want to be average or something. You don't want to stand out. You don't necessarily want to be too smart or something, because you'll alienate yourself. I don't know. You know, the diet, the fucking, and I was somebody that believed that these things they show us on TV and the movies are ways they're trying to program us, or they were programming us, you know, things like fucking Adam Sandler movies. Seeing the way the guys in my generation imitated that shit, and it devolved from there. You know, everything after Adam Sandler was like some sloppy man-child Seth Rogen shit. Some other fat Jewish guy who's funny. Which is fine, I guess. That's show business, but video games seem like the best way to do that. You know, they seem like the best way to just, I mean, suck. You know, you're not really gonna be some political agitator or something if you're spending your whole fucking life playing video games. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe video games are a place. It seems like everybody plays video games voted for Donald Trump. So I don't know. I just think there has been like this adolescent mentality encouraged in men. And like the manosphere, these guys are like at the inauguration, like they're the fucking brain trust or something. It's like it's Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Bert Kreischer, Segura. You know, on the one hand, I think it indicates that like men are hungry for like conversation and like deep thoughts. And this shit is all like propaganda that's paid for and put into these spaces where they are, YouTube or Twitch or whatever. These kind of like man cave spaces, you know, Twitch, video game. I think that's part of the reason why it's like a safe comfort zone. 'Cause it's like, well, there's no women there. They're not going to judge me. They're not going to reject me. You know, they're not going to hurt me. I can just keep killing. Killing spree. Double kill. Triple kill. You keep beating the shit out of people on Streets of Rage. Neo Geo. Did anybody ever have a Neo Geo? I was into the Neo Geo, but I don't know what kind of kid had a Neo Geo. That was like, you had to have it. You probably had everything if you had a fucking Neo Geo. We had a TurboGrafx 16. I'm not exactly sure how. I think it was cheap. I think it was only like $100 or something. The TurboGrafx 16 had these little, they were almost like credit cards size. And they had like this weird like black thing with some chips on it that you would insert. It was crazy. I mean, it looked like it was designed by H.R. Geiger. It looked like the fucking Alien or something. In the back of it would come off, and it had like a 16 pin. You know, it wasn't simple like a Nintendo. It had like 12 pin fucking, you'd bend the pins, it'd get all fucked up. But it was future. I mean, that was like having the future right in our fucking living room. We had this game, Final Lap Twin. Holy shit, we played the fuck out of Final Lap Twin. It was a racing game, but it was also like an overhead, like walking around, like story quest, like Zelda almost. And I love those kind of games. Or like I had, for Game Boy, I think I had Dragon Warrior. Dragon Warrior, it was like a special one. I don't think it had a number. It was like Dragon Warrior. It was some special Dragon Warrior game. I like Dragon Warrior. Did people play Dragon? That would be a good movie. Dragon Warrior would be a good movie. Hell, I'll direct a Dragon Warrior movie. You know, it used to be kind of hack, right? Like Paul, my friend Chip, who's a gamer, he used to talk so much shit about this guy, Paul W.S. Anderson. Not P.T. Anderson. Paul W.S. Anderson directed all of the fucking, like, Resident Evil movies. I think he was married to Mila Jovovich, which everybody who I grew up with, like, was obsessed with Mila Jovovich. They thought Mila Jovovich was so hot in The Fifth Element. But Paul W.S. Anderson was married to Mila Jovovich, and he directed all these video game movies that are supposed to be terrible. They're supposed to be like some of the worst movies ever made. I've never seen any of them. I think he's been sort of reevaluated, maybe, slightly. I'm sure his movies... He directed, like, House of the Dead movie, I think. See, I know about video games, goddammit. I know about... I mean, nothing... Like, I don't know about Fallout. I see all this Fallout shit on TikTok. It's like I really don't understand what the references are, but Fallout 2, Fallout 3. Apparently they have all this like Slim Whitman music or something in it. I'm in real life, okay? I'm in the IRL Liberty City. The real Grand Theft Auto. Of the open mic circuit. That's my favorite game to play. Yeah, so we had TurboGrafx 16. We really didn't have that many games. The games were not easy to find. You know, weren't like Nintendo games. Because they were these weird little, like there was no other system that had their games on those like weird little, it looked like a hotel room key. Final Lap Twin. That game was dope as hell. What else? Oh, my arm is getting tired. I need to sit down again. We're just strolling down memory lane. This is my childhood memories. This is what I did. This is why I'm so anti-video game. Because I'm like, I threw my youth away on cable television and Super Nintendo. I mean, A Link to the Past. When Zelda A Link to the Past came out, I mean, that was a huge, huge milestone in human history. I mean, Link to the Past was I mean, even Super Mario World felt like that. I remember when we got a goddamn Super Nintendo. It was magical. On Christmas morning, my parents, well, Santa Claus had set it up. So we came out Christmas morning and it was already on. Super Mario World was just playing on our television. And we're just like, oh my God. There's a fucking Super Nintendo? What? Nintendo is already the greatest thing we could possibly imagine. There was a Three Stooges video game. Did anybody ever play that? I used to go to my friend Travis Smith, my best friend in kindergarten, first grade. Travis Smith lived right down the street. And he had like 50 fucking video games. Or he had shitload. I mean, to this day, his Instagram, shout out Travis Smith. His Instagram is like he's ordering he gets all these video games in the mail every day. I don't know where he gets the money for this. It's like every day he's got some new like fucking mail haul of all these like Super Nintendo and Genesis. So he had the fucking Three Stooges game, which is kind of hard to believe. Why were they even making it? I think it was just so easy to make Nintendo games, and they could just be like, yeah, this is $50. We spent 15 minutes programming some old fucking Three Stooges shit into like an NES cartridge. Charge some dumbass 7-year-old $50 for a game that's got like maybe 30 minutes of replay value. But it's dope they made that game. I mean, I was obsessed with it. I was like, what? This game's got to be incredible. The Three Stooges game? I have to play this. How could they make a game out of that? Like, what the fuck? What's the object? They just beat the shit out of each other? It should just be a fighting game. You know, there should be weapons and shit. They haven't done a Three Stooges game with, like, Rockstar. Come on. We got Red Dead Redemption already. Let's get a Three Stooges game going on from Rockstar. I mean, I do think Rockstar are, like, they're as good as anything culturally. Like, Rockstar is as good as George Lucas or Francis Ford Coppola. Or anything. Shakespeare. I haven't played Red Dead Redemption, but it's supposed to be insane. Let's get some of these. All right, I've got 20%, so I'll go to 10%. Thank you guys for watching. You know, we could just talk about video games forever. People would probably be more interested if I... Maybe I should try to figure out some kind of gaming setup. Gaming chair. Do you guys have gaming chairs? Is everybody watching this from their gaming chairs? I don't think there's any funnier piece of furniture than a fucking gaming chair. If you have a gaming chair, just blow your brains out. Do me a favor. Sit down in your gaming chair and blow your brains out. Because you are a piece of shit. Like, you are a human piece of shit, okay? I'm sorry. But if you have a fucking gaming chair, like, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. When I was probably like 12 or 13, I was obsessed because we had Cruisin' USA, which is a fucking amazing game. It's all about learning. You're seeing the United States. Come on. See, Nintendo cares. Cruisin' USA was a phenomenal game. It was sort of like it was Nintendo, I think maybe Rare, did they do that? Or, but we bought this fucking, steering wheel, you know, for our Nintendo 64. So it'd be like more realistic to play Cruisin' USA. Like, we're actually driving. It had pedals and shit. I don't know that we really used it ever. It didn't, you know, it didn't really, you know, work that well with our, like, plaid fucking, like, armchair from, like, the 70s that we had from the thrift store. Because you had to, like, put the wheel, like, between your legs, and I don't know, it just didn't really... It wasn't like real driving, believe it or not. That was as close as I ever got to a gaming chair. But, look at that. Look at that beauty. I just had to, you know, have a moment of zen there. Oh yeah, so gaming chair. I need a gaming chair somehow. If people want to, in the super chat, if you want to donate a gaming chair, it just helps with the gaming. You know, when you have that chair, you know, when it's like sculpted that way, with like, it looks like a fucking, it looks like it belongs in like a Formula One car. You know, like you're flying some kind of Formula One car to like outer space or something. It's like fucking, you know, no one is fucking, you're in your mom's basement. You know, you're in your mom's basement with your gaming chair. I mean, you're not cool, okay? You are not cool with your gaming chair. I'm sorry. Doesn't help with the gaming at all. You're still just sitting on your ass. Just because you have some chair that looks like it's going fast, like it's a race car, doesn't mean that you're actually doing anything. That doesn't count as physical activity, okay? But, you know, I think gamers have this, like, wounded self-consciousness where they think they're nerds, or, like, we perceive them as nerds, or, like, we're attacking them for talking shit about their lifestyle. And, I'm standing, get away from me. And it's like, first of all, I don't think people judge, you know, like, I think part of it is like, oh, I play video games, I'm a nerd. Women don't like nerds. Which, like, as far as I can tell, women have no problem with guys that play video games. There's always, like, I mean, look at Enora, right? All that guy does in that movie is play fucking video games. He's got his stripper girlfriend, and he's sitting there with his Xbox controller and his bong. It's like, that is the typical male right now, is a fucking gamer in a hoodie. Like a fucking slob. Like a 12-year-old, like a permanent 12-year-old. And you might, you know, these tech guys, you know, it just breaks my heart to walk around the West Village and see in people's windows and they're playing fucking video games. It's like you're some tech bro, you don't want to live in New York, but you make shitloads of money because you have this obscure nerd talent. And all you want to do is play video games. Let somebody who wants to live their life fucking live in that apartment. Like, if you live in New York City, I mean, Jesus Christ, how do you have time to play video games? Like, it's famously a busy place where, you know, it's like impossible to like rest or do anything. It's like, and yet there are people all around us more interested in playing video games than in doing this every single day, like I do. I'm gonna go get a shepherd's pie, everybody, from Zabar's. And then, but like, I don't think women judge, they definitely don't judge you if like, oh my God, you play video games, you're a nerd. I think at this point, that is like fairly typical. They should judge you. Women should judge you. They should be like, oh, this guy's a fucking loser. I'm not going to sleep with him. He's over 25 and he's got, like, you know, an active Xbox Live subscription. There's no way I'm fucking this guy. But our world is a lot less cool than it used to be. And video games, it's just another, like, habitat at this point. Like, that is a part of the metaverse that, like, it's only going to become more and more a part of people's lives. So you kind of got to meet people where they are. But that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't think video games have this stigma. I think they're way more normal and normalized and a part of every part of our lives. And yet they still have this conception about themselves like they're oppressed or they're some kind of underdog, like nerd fringe thing. It's like, no. The Minecraft movie is the #1 fucking movie. Like, these video games or just listen to the way people talk. You know, as you go about this, do this for me, viewers out there, okay? Just look for video game metaphors in every kind of fucking conversation, and like they're everywhere. Like, this is how people are seeing the world now. They're seeing just the video games are sort of like some kind of like narrativized version of the internet almost, where it's like, we're really seeing, we're experiencing the internet as much as we're experiencing real life. But it's not as fun to use those kind of, like video games supply this like lexicon of like action, leveling up, side quests. I can't, I'm not good at thinking of the terms because I don't live in video game world, but like they're everywhere. These metaphors from games as sort of like just how people are understanding, the world, the real world. Oh, he leveled up. Oh, he's on a side quest. Oh, Trump is like the final boss of, and it's like movies and that media is already like a confusion of like real life and fact and fiction, whereas like, I don't know, video games are like a complete replacement of reality. And, I think for men to spend all this time in this kind of derealized, dissociated space, it's easy for them to be politically dissociated and just think, okay, doesn't matter who gets elected, Kamala is a fucking, they're just not cool. Like Trump is cool. He's funny. He's on fucking Theo Vaughn. Which I'm listening to while I'm like playing NBA fucking 2K5 or whatever. So it's like, I don't think, like a lot of nerd culture, but video games, I think in particular, are like, it's not the legacy media, so it doesn't occupy